Cassidy, and I'm 18. I am straight, but I don't like to be classified in any category. Actually, I definitely focus more on the male gender, but I'm not like totally biased to just the male gender.
I'm Paul Rickard and I'm 22 and am a gay man.
My name is Sean Eric with a K, Walters. My age is 23. I just identify myself as being quite a straight male.
I'm Liz and I'm 18 and I am a lesbian. Even though I like the word gay better.
My name's Will Merkus. I am 18 years of age. I identify myself, I mean, if you're looking at the Kinsey scale, I'd say like a 2 or a 3. So, mostly straight.
I am Ellen Foose, and I'm 20. I'm straight.
Zach Carsey, and I am 19 years old.
Identify as?
Straight.
I'm Zachary Pfeiffer, I'm 23.
How do you identify?
I gender fuck or gender queer. Gay man.
My name is Rachel Menarson. I'm 18. I'm very, very gay, lesbian, I guess. I don't really like that word though.
Yes, it brings me joy. I actually, I instantly just think of interesting people.
A queer culture?
Yes.
Yes, I do believe that there is.
How?
It's a little bit different, but it's a little bit more free, a little bit more not like out there, but people are not afraid of what like other people think, and it's more about how they feel on the inside.
No, I just feel like a gay culture is one that's really like open, like they're way more expressive than I think most straight people.
Very much so with this. I interact, I could probably say differently with other fellow homosexuals because it's just easier because, well, I know me personally growing up, when I found out what gay was, when gay was a thing, I hid it as much as possible. I didn't talk about it openly. And then just being around others that are also gay, we interact in a very 10 times more friendly way than I'd ever interact with anyone I just met that wasn't.
I think of it as kind of, I guess I would say a counterculture. Every society has their own countercultures. You know, you look at like punk fashion, and the guys who are like really associate themselves with punk. And there's also, you know, that wave going through, you know, everybody calls somebody a hipster these days. I would define the queer culture as like people that are more expressive and open as a person. People that they don't succumb to the stereotypes. They don't really like to put themselves in that light. Yeah, they are queer. Yeah, maybe they are a little flamboyant. Yeah, maybe they dress a little differently, but still they're the same person inside.
I think that it's easy for some who are outside of the queer culture to think that there isn't a queer culture. Automatically, we want to go into this idea that queer culture is the LGBTQIAQ community. But I think in looking at where queer comes from, which is weird or other, I think it's a lot wider than that. There's a lot more people that can fit into that culture.
Oh, absolutely. Oftentimes, because social groups kind of tend to attract each other, so I think that there's absolutely a queer culture, and it doesn't necessarily have to be absolutely exclusive.
I guess I feel like we're more like open with each other. From an outsider point of view, looking as somebody who's not in the queer community, I would guess that people probably see us as really over-sexualized.
I think there are a lot of different cultures within queer culture. I guess a lot of different things make up queer culture. I would agree that there is one, but it's not very black and white, I would say.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a heterosexual culture. You know, everywhere you go, you know, you walk around a campus at a university, or you walk down the street at a big a big city, and you'll see that culture, you'll see that conservative, traditional, idealistic culture where everybody has to be subscribed to one value and everybody has to do the same things.
And how do you define that?
As everything, everywhere, anytime, period. All sorts of advertisements, commercials, movies, blah blah blah, they're all straight.
Heterosexual culture. Automatically, I think white, Christian, straight. I mean, me being in all my women's studies classes would say men, just because that heterosexual culture is ran by men.
Yes, I do believe that there is.
How do you define it?
I would define it as something a little bit more sheltered. People don't try to step outside of their means to try and like express themselves.
I mean, the normal straight person goes to church every Sunday, and I don't know. I can't even think of. I really don't know how to define my own culture.
Because it's kind of everything.
It is, yeah. I don't know.
See, again, this is kind of a different one because it's almost a similar thing as with race. It's like an invisibility of whiteness, and this is the same thing, heterosexual privilege. It's kind of something that's ingrained into our culture especially in the United States, but it's something that people often look at as something that's absolutely natural, and it's kind of like part of like I guess you could call it a hidden curriculum in our schooling systems, where you kind of learn that heterosexuality and the normalcy of heterosexuality.
Like, it's just how culture, like, is. Like, if you look at the media, like, everything's heteronormative. Well, I mean, mostly heteronormative. There's a lot of white going on, which I'm not proud to say in our society, but I feel like most of the culture is based around, like, upper middle class, white, heterosexual people. So, like, the culture that you see in, like, American society is, like, heterosexual culture. Like, that's why there is a queer culture.
If I had to agree that there was a heteronormative culture, I guess, or heterosexual culture, it would just be the very, masculine man with feminine wife with, the kids, and kind of, it's not necessarily the white picket sort of scenario, but it's very much related to that, and the almost patriarchal society sort of thing.
I don't want to say that it's the completely opposite, but because of how society is, I almost do get this way different view versus the, queer culture, I guess. It's not a bad thing, I would say, but it's just more traditional.
Well, Ellen DeGeneres, Neil Patrick Harris, Elton John, Lady Gaga, RuPaul, Keyboard Cat, I don't know.
Instantly I started thinking of RuPaul. Think of this more like the 80s culture and like music.
I think Madonna played a big role in kind of sort of stepping out as an icon in the queer culture. Automatically I go to the music industry just because it seems like those people will jump forward just to make money. So Lady Gaga, Katy Perry right now.
One I could think of is like maybe Lady Gaga, just because she kind of is out there and she really doesn't care what other people think.
Like the early ones, like Judy Garland's probably one of the biggest ones. People our age don't really, I think, associate her with that, but she was a big gay icon. A big one I would have to say is Madonna. I mean, Madonna did the whole, gay, really incorporating gay culture and bringing gay culture into the mainstream. I mean, Vogue, one of her biggest, voguing was an underground gay dance scene before Madonna brought it up. And, and she did it maybe without all of the, hey, look at me, that another unnamed artist does.
Yeah, RuPaul.
I don't know why, but I think of Queen Latifah because she's gay. But the thing is, like, she doesn't really talk about it. Obviously Ellen DeGeneres. Like, I think that she really puts out a good name for the queer community because she's not overly sexualized. She's married. She's happily married.
Freddie Mercury, RuPaul, because he's my man. He's sexy in GQ and he's sexy in his drag.
This has been said many times, but Lady Gaga, she's somebody who's been an activist for the LGBT community for quite a long time, and you know she kind of gives that strange aura. Everybody kind of calls her weird and whatever. So I think that really does help people identify with her.
Rick Santorum. Because he's afraid of everything.
Sports players, all-American representatives, president.
Ooh, again, invisibility of heterosexuality. Heterosexual culture, what is it? It's something that we don't really see. And then if you say, honestly, if you say there's somebody who represents heterosexuality, I mean, I don't know, it almost feels like I'm almost being homophobic by saying something like that. You know?
Congressmen. Oh yeah, you look at congressmen and they fight about sexuality and all that shit all the time about it's wrong to be this, it's wrong to be that. And
I think The Bachelorette would be a good one to say, definitely.
I don't know. Most celebrities are heterosexual, and at least they don't express otherwise.
Everybody? Is that an answer? Anybody who is in the limelight, who is white, male, of money.
For some reason, Oprah just like pops in my mind. I don't know why.
The one that came to mind first was like George Clooney, because he's like that man's man, and like all the guys want to be him, and all the women want to sleep with him. And like Pamela Anderson, I think, is the epitome of that pinup girl that is really overly sexual, and she's blonde with big boobs, and kind of how men want their women to be in America.
I think my identity's represented in both cultures. I would say I'm pretty effeminate male. I wouldn't say that I'm super strong and like masculine. I still have those qualities in me. Yeah, I dress a certain way and I hang out with a lot of different types of people.
I feel like I'm a lot more open-minded than the typical straight girl. From the time that I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, my best friend has been a gay guy, and I feel like that's shaped me quite a bit. Oh, it doesn't matter who you sleep with at night. Not at all. I mean, I've never slept with a woman, but if I did, like...
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it, but queer culture could involve also the way that people dress. I happen to fit into like the hipster lesbian fad, would you call it?
Probably maybe a little too much. I might be a walking stereotype in ways, you know, I'm obsessed with fashion and celebrity and things like that. Granted, I know more about the behind the scenes of it all than most people, but you know, there's parts of my identity that I like to keep separate, and I don't ever consider my master status as gay.
Not really. I've you know, if my parents had seen some of the things I did, I don't think they'd be pretty happy with me. And knowing my parents, I mean, I'm the son of a pastor, so.
My identity fits the queer culture. It's just that, unfortunately, there's no pure queer culture. There's always something that's pushing it down, like there's a glass ceiling sort of thing on it. You can't get past a certain point of acceptance.
No, I guess I would have to say no to that. I don't think that, I think it's all just about stereotyping and judging before you really get to know those people who fit into those categories.
Absolutely not. As somebody who identifies as genderqueer, I often get, from my community and from my portrayal of what I see on TV as being too gay. there's like this fine line, and it could be just geographically, like where we're at, that the norm for a gay man is to be heteronormative. If you can blend in, that's the way you should be. And if you don't, then you're automatically pushed out.
No, I like to break all the norms. Well, I have 2 gay fathers, and I love them very much. And I believe that they've taught me a lot of things about how I should live my life, and I believe that they have told me that regardless of what whoever says, you are who you are, and you should do what you feel and not what other people think.